This is Bob, and this is Doug. And I'm Pat the Backyard Builder. Got a cute little project for you this week. My wife just loves to pick up these cute little moose guys here, wherever we can find them here. She's got a whole herd of these things around the house. They come out and take over the place every Christmas, so I figured I was going to take a couple of them from her and do a cute little Christmas display here. So that's my Christmas crafting project for this year. So anyways, I've got a little spot on the floor, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into a kind of a diorama and put these two characters into a little tree farm. It's got a little wagon that we little metal wagon that we found at Goodwill, and we just got some little trees and stuff, and we're just gonna have some fun. Let's get started. So I looked at the available space that I had, and I had about roughly 16 by 24 inches, 28 inches, something like that. So I went out and got myself a chunk of plywood, and I didn't want to have a straight front or a square front, so I took a jigsaw and I just cut this wavy front here, and this is going to be our base for our diorama scene. So I picked up this this wooden dowel. This is 1-inch wooden dowel from you can get one of these at any hardware store, pretty much. And I cut it down. Well, it's 4 feet. I cut it down to 2 foot length. And basically, I'm just gonna choose a random spot here to place the dowel. One here and one over by this edge over here. And what these are going to be is actually a pair of power poles, and I'm going to string some Christmas lights in between them. I've got a little set of Christmas lights here I bought. And then I went out to my wood pile and I got some kindling, basically, from the pile. And basically what we're going to do here, we're going to make ourselves sort of a rustic wooden fence. So I'm just marking some spots here where we're going to put some fence posts, and we're going to drill some holes here and mount these fence posts. So just kind of doing it kind of rustic here, so they'll be nice and uneven. Uneven spacing. The posts are going to be kind of knotted and gnarly type thing, and it should look pretty cute when we get it all put together. So anyways, I've got a 3/32 bit here, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to be piloting these so that I don't end up splitting these when I come up with a screw from the bottom. Because these is kind of a narrow piece of wood, and if you shove a screw up in there and it's too tight, that you end up splitting it here, and we don't really want to have that split on us here. That's kind of a rough end. I'm going to put that at the top, and we'll just keep on piloting these. Yeah, it's probably not going to hurt to pilot your dowels either, so they don't split. fun with some of these pieces here. They're frozen, so trying to get the bit to even go through that was interesting, but we'll just give these a pilot as well. Whether or not it actually lines up is kind of irrelevant, but you'll see why in a few minutes. We'll just put that aside. Now for the fun part. Oh, I need some screws. So anyways, we got some wood glue here. And we're just going to start with a post here. I think what we're going to do here is start by piloting a couple of these in the back here. Whoops, that wasn't my hole. Problem with using old plywood. End up going in the hole for somebody else's project. There we go. We'll just back that off. There we go. And we'll just get these all piloted here. Okay, so I don't know what's going to be the easiest way to do this here. It'd be nice if I actually had a vise down here, but I don't. So we're just going to have to play around with this and struggle with it and see what happens. So we'll just put a little bit of glue on one of these, and there we go. We're going to come through. Stand that there. There it is, and line that up to our hole. I'm not going to worry about the excess glue. It will actually be hidden by the time we get this all done. So let's try another one here. I think it seems to work better if we bring it out first. So we're going to advance our tip. There we go. Get ourselves another fence post. Into the hole. Yeah. Come on, get in there. There we go. And carry on. Same thing for the power posts. We're just gonna advance the screw through. And we'll get some glue on there. I'll find my pilot hole. There we are. There we go. And one last screw. So there we have it up to this point in time. Now I just need to get something to make these posts here into a fence. And I think I have just the thing for that out in my scrap pile. I think I got some sawed off strips of 1x4. I think they're just little 1/4 inch wide strips. I think that'll do just fine. So anyways, yeah, here we are. They're just some rough cut strips left over from doing some wood ripping here. I think what we're going to do here, we're just going to put them together like that and just kind of run them into a roughshod looking fence here. We're just going to cut that off there. Do a couple of those that length, and then we'll do another one in here. Oh, just rough length there. We'll do a few that length, and then we need to go across the back here. There, we'll make life easier. 9 inches. And the more rough and rustic it looks, the better, I think, for this little project. And we're just going to run 3 rails across our posts here and just turn it into a nice looking little fence. So anyways, after a quick trip to the workshop here, we've got ourselves some rough boards here. And basically what we're going to do, we're just going to put them on just kind of haphazardly here, and nothing really straight or anything like that. But that's kind of the idea. Is we're just going to attach them just like that, and give it a rustic look here. And now you can attach it either with glue and clamps, or you can nail it. I'm basically going to pin nail it, and then I've got some HO railroad spikes. They're little tiny nails about 1/2 inch long, and I'm just going to kind of tap them halfway in and bend them over, and just kind of give them that real rough look. The guy who built the fence wasn't really very good at building fences at that sort of look. And but in the meantime here, I'm going to put this project aside for tonight, but before I do that, my wife's graciously donated a little bit of paint here, so I'm just going to paint my fence boards brown here, and paint my posts as well, and then I'll have to leave this for a couple of hours, and well, carry this on tomorrow night. So I'm going to squeeze some paint out here if we can. Oh, that's kind of, there we go. And we'll get some of the other color as well here. A couple of different browns. They're actually fairly similar brown, but maybe they'll look a little different after they dry. We'll just get these all painted here. So, again, like me, we just want to give it that rough look. So we'll be doing some final touches here afterward with the snow tacks, and we'll just give it not really a whole lot of difference between those two, is there? I'll have to see if I can maybe get a darker brown to mix in with this here. So anyways, we've got everything all nicely painted up here, and we're just going to take a couple of pieces here, and we're going to start to glue. Just put a little bit of glue on, or I think it's going to hit anyway. There we go. Just like so. And we'll just take the, I'm going to do it with a pin nailer here. And you can use whatever method you have available for putting stuff together. Glue and clamp will work, or a brad nailer might work as well. I'm just going to put these things unevenly. I'm not going to line them up or anything. The idea is to make it look rustic. So, over the glue here, and up by the top. Just kind of put that one a little cockeyed. There we go, like so. There. And I'm going to do the same thing here at the back. Just kind of a little bit of glue there. This one here at a bit of an angle, I think. There we go, just like so. The nice thing about these headless pins is they're small enough that you can't actually see the nail. So I can go back afterward and fix it up with some smaller nails for effect. So just want to, there we go, right there. That'll work. Bit of an angle here. Let's see here now. There we go. I may have placed that one just a little bit wonky. We have to push that down just to get some room. Nice thing about the nails is they're not overly strong, so you can move them a bit. These little headless pins, they're only 23 gauge. So there we go. Whoop. Pulled right out. That's fine though. We'll just set that down a little lower. And I actually want to get this one in place here like so. And then we'll staple that one back in. There. There. Voila. And we'll just dab up some of the excess glue here. It's the nice thing about the white glue is it does dry clear, but it also dries a bit glossy, so we'll just take that off as much as we can. There we go. Okay, now, next problem, snow on the ground. Okay, so what I'm doing right now here, I'm just running some expanding foam here, just under the fence line here, because that's where snow would normally accumulate. And I'm just kind of building it up around the bottom of the posts and stuff. Yeah, it sounds like I'm just about out of foam. Now you can either use expanding foam, or you can now you can either use expanding foam, or you can use styrofoam, and you know, just the white beaded styrofoam. Get it out of an electronics box, some gizmo you just bought, and cut that up and glue it down with white glue, and that'll work just as well. Because what we're going to do next here, after this cures, we're just going to cover it with some flocking. But we're going to paint the base white here first, and we'll give the foam a little bit of paint as well, so that it doesn't overly distract with the yellow here. But we'll get everything looking like a Christmas scene here next. So now our diorama has had a chance to dry for a bit, and the foam's all cured, and I've taken some time and painted the base white here, so that when we put our snow on the surface here, the wood doesn't show through all that easily. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just doing a little bit of detailing here. I've got a product here called Snowtex. And you can just get this at your local craft store. And basically, what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of adding some details here, making it looks like we've got a bit of a snowdrift, snow sticking to the side of the fence here. And it's got a palette knife. I'm just spreading it with here, and yeah, you just. The more random you can put this stuff on, the more kind of natural it looks. But this stuff will dry hard and give it a snow-like texture, and just some in the little nooks and crannies here, and yeah, some over the front here, just. And basically, the randomness is kind of the key here. Just not too much in any one place here, and just there we go. Just like snow would be sitting on a fence. Yeah. Just have fun with it, be creative. There's no real rules to this. Now, a couple things you want to do here for realism. One, try not to overdo it. Yeah, too much of a good thing is basically too much. So just use a little restraint and figuring out where you're going to put this stuff. And the other thing is, what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to get it all from, as if it was all blowing from the same direction. So I'm kind of building it up in the corners here, as if the wind was all blowing this one way. it just kind of adds to the realism of the diorama when you do little things like that, eh? Some back in this corner here because snow would have blown in there because it's all blowing from the same direction. So we'll just pack it into that corner there. And again right there. Just little bits. Yeah, so it's kind of all coming from the same direction now. Just a little bit in here, and I think that it's pretty much going to do it. Just add a little bit to the top of these posts here as well for a little bit of realism. Otherwise they look kind of stark. Stand out and contrast everything. Okay, so while the snow text dries, we're just going to do another little detail here. I've got a couple of hook eyes here. Just going to take a pair of pliers and just open that up just a touch for now on the one end. We've got two of these little hooks. And what we're going to do, we're going to string a wire between these 2 points here, and basically what that is going to be, it's going to be a cable that runs between these 2 power posts. And Bob and Doug have strung their Christmas lights across this cable. So we'll just kind of put them in so that they're somewhat opposite each other here. And well, there we go. So just open up the one end slightly. Just put it in. That's about opposite at the other end here, roughly. Okay, so now with our hooks at both ends, what we're going to do is we're going to take some annealed wire. Now, you can buy this stuff at the craft store if you want, but in all honesty, I think you're wasting your money there. The cheapest place to buy this annealed wire is actually at the hardware store. It's what they use for tying rebar, and it's real cheap if you buy it by the roll. So, what we're going to do, we're just going to put a short loop through there. We're going to tie that up, and we're just going to get that to hold there for a minute. We're going to take it over to the other post here and make sure we have enough to get through our hole there. We're just going to cut that off. That's all the wire that we need. Because like I said, this is just a cable that holds everything up for the Christmas display. So we're just going to take our pair of pliers here. We're just going to wind this up nice and tight. Here, just take that off. What you can do to make this nice and neat here is just 2 pairs of pliers here. We're just going to get one pair of pliers to hold it right tight here, and then we're going to take the other pair of pliers and we're just going to twist, and that will bring that into a nice tight loop. And then we're going to do the same at the other end, and we're just going to hook these on together. There we go. See, that's nice and tight. You can just take your pliers, flatten that out a bit so it looks like it's straight under tension, because it's not going to be actually under tension, so you want it to kind of look like it. So we'll just straighten that out, and there we go. Okay, now we'll pull our wire tight, just straighten it out. That's the nice thing about this nailed wire, is it actually is quite stiff. So we want to go there and put our bend right about there, so that everything will look nicely between the two. Just a little bit of a sag. Now we'll close that up. There we go, just like that. Get the pliers to hold it, and then we will twist the other end here now, and that'll give us the appearance of having a nice tight cable that their lights are strung across. So there we go. And once again, we're just going to clamp that down and make sure that that's straight, so it looks like it's under tension. And it's just a matter of hooking that onto there and hooking that onto there, just like that. Okay, now we've got a nice tight cable. We can take our pliers, just close these back up again so they don't come off, and now we can string our Christmas lights. And next I've got this package of little lights here. They're just battery operated. I picked them up at the dollar store, and the idea of these little lights here, we're just simply going to string them up along our wire here for decoration. And what we'll do with this here, just gonna okay, just gonna tape this here for now. Actually, we'll put some bubbles on it and make it look like a transformer, and maybe paint that black. But there's our lights here across the cable here. I'm gonna have to, I think I'm gonna open that up and slip that in there again. But there we go. Just get the pliers. We'll open that up a bit. That in too. We'll just in like so and in like so. And once again, we'll just close that up tight there. There we go. I'd rather make it look like a transformer. Maybe we can put some kind of greenery on here, something like this, maybe just to hide that. Hide that in there. So we'll put a tall tree here or something, just to keep it hidden. Okay, so next we turn our attention to the base here, and we've got some watered down glue. We're just going to spread that out a bit and cover that up as much as possible. And then what we're going to do next here, I've got this artificial snow flocking, and we're just going to stick that onto the white glue. and just cover the scene with the artificial snow. We got that watered down a bit too much, but yeah, that's fine, it'll work. Not quite as realistic as the snow text, but then doing snow text on something this big is pretty pricey, so that stuff, that little jar's not exactly cheap, so. There we go, and I guess that's about it for tonight. I guess I'm going to have to wait for this to dry now, and then we can get the rest of this little details tomorrow. Well, that didn't quite turn out the way I'd hoped. I've got all this loose stuff on top here now, and none of the stuff on top actually stuck. So I'm a little disappointed, so I'm going to come up with a plan B here. I think what we're going to try next here, I think we're going to use some fast setting plaster and go over this, and then I've got a plan, use some crafting supplies here. I'm going to actually make this so it actually matches this white snow, because this is a really big difference in the whites here. And if it's the same snowfall, it should kind of all look the same. So I think we're going to come up with a plan B here, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so before I revisit my problem with the snow-covered ground, I'm going to solve this problem with the hiding this little power box here. What I've done, I've got myself a little piece of wreath here, and I've fanned it out to make it look like it's a growing tree, and I'm wiring it to the back of this post here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tighten that up a bit here, but what the goal here is to actually use this wire to make a stand for this, because I need to be able to pull it out to change the batteries. So I'm just going to take another little chunk of wire here. This is that annealed wire that I used earlier to make the cable for the lights to hang on. And what we're going to do here, we're just going to form this around here so it makes a little stand to hold this in place, but it's not going to be so tight that I can't slip that box out of there if I need to change the batteries. And we'll just twist that around like so, and there we go. We're just gonna make sure that stays loose so that we can pull that out of there. Just like so. And lost our cover. Put the cover back on. go. You want to be able to just drop that in there like that. And what we're going to do here, we'll just take that out for now. Just bend that down like so. And we'll just wire these in together here, I think. And there we go. There we go, that'll hold there. And we can just take these and we'll just bend them off to the side here just to hold that in place, and do the same thing over on this side. Just twist that up a little more. Just bend that over around the corner. There we go, and that makes a little pocket to put this thing into. Everything still works. Voila. And that's going to remain hidden. I think I'll take a few more little pieces here maybe and just kind of disguise that on the back. Just kind of hides it all in there now. So we can just take this piece of branch, we'll wire that in somehow. Maybe we can stick that in here. We'll get it figured out here. Just one. There we go. It'll work. There we go. What I did was I just opened these wires up a bit, stuck the end of the tip in between the wires, and then twisted it back up again. I'm going to take this one last little piece here, and I've got a heavy strand sticking out here, so we're going to bend these back up like so, as if they were branches extending. I'm going to actually drill into the post here and just tuck that in behind there, and that'll just cover that up nicely. Yeah, that nicely hides that. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm mixing up a product called ProSet 90. This is basically drywall plaster that sets in an hour and a half, and it'll be, it takes a little while longer than that to actually dry, but it'll be set hard enough that you can actually sand it and stuff after less than 90 minutes. So I'm just mixing it up right now, and we're gonna try that. What we'll do, we'll lay down a base of plaster, and then on top of that I'm going to put Mod Podge and a little bit of white paint and sparkle all mixed up together, and that should work a whole lot better than this flocking idea. So just mix it up to a nice creamy, thick consistency here, and then we're gonna get another tool here, and we will start to lay it out. There we go. I think what we're going to do here, we'll just start in the corner here, and we'll just cover this all up, and there we go. Just make it look like it's piled up against the fence. Just kind of smooth it off here. We'll maybe do some highlights in the snow text or something like that, or we'll see how the Mod Podge and the sparkles work. The idea here is just to cover this up and make it work. It's actually looking not too bad here. It's kind of bumpy, which is perfectly fine. That's kind of looks realistic. Like snow got piled up there. Now you can take that and clean that off with a paper towel, or sometimes it goes up the edge of a post like that, so we'll just put some there. Start on this side of the fence and then we'll go make the other side of the fence look like we want it to as well. There we go. Now if you don't have this fast setting drywall plaster, you can use regular drywall plaster as well, but be prepared to wait a few days for it to dry, so you set aside a little extra time for your project if that's the case. So there we go. Pile it up against the fence, all against the bottom of the fence here. There we go. I'm going to have to mix some more up soon here, just going through this fairly quickly. That's fine. There we go. Let's put that on top of our foam and build up our hill. There we go. I guess it's actually looks not too bad here. It's kind of like the snow looks like after it's been packed and walked on and everything else like that. So it's looking not too bad actually for realism. So I suppose there's a plus side to this mess up, but there we go. There, it's kind of starting to look like it's actually snow that's been packed down and walked upon, and it's quite a busy little tree lot here. Now, one thing you can do here, I'm going to leave a flatter spot here. I scraped the flocking off so that I can have a flat level spot for the one moose to stand on. What you can do here to actually get some of this little leveler while it's still pretty damp, just take it and just shake it like that, and that'll actually it'll cause it to settle out and take off some of the ridges of the spatula and stuff. And then we're going to cover this up again with the Mod Podge next. So anyways, we're just going to set that aside for a while and let that cure. And in the meantime, we're going to go on to another little fun little detail in the project here. I've put this together here. I found a little Christmas tree sign on the internet there, and I just added a few extra details here and changed it up. And now what I'm going to do, just going to cut it out here. Now, I'm not going to be very clean with the cut here, because again, I want to carry on that kind of rustic look that I've been working on. Just kind of slap it together, make it work kind of little thing. Bob and Doug don't have a whole heck of a lot of money, just a couple of moose in the forest. So what we're going to do, we'll just cut that out roughly, and then going to take some glue here. We're going to stick this onto a board here. Yeah, there we go. So put some wood glue on it here. We'll just spread that out. And then what we're going to do here, we're going to spread this out, and then I'm going to cut this board out real rough here. Now let's see, our grain's going this way, so we kind of want to follow along with that. There we go. I'm going to let that set for a few minutes here. We'll just take our brayer, if I can find it, wherever it went. And I'm going to roll that out. So we'll just roll that out so that it's all nice and flat. And then once that sets up a bit, I'm going to take my jigsaw and I'm going to cut this out roughly, and this will be our sign that's going to go on the post. That'll advertise his business. Now I've just taken the sign here and I roughed it. I'm going to rough it up a bit. What I did was I just stuck it under the tap for a moment and got some water on it. We're just going to rough the edges up a bit here with I've got a wire brush here. We're just going to rough things up a bit so that it doesn't look quite so neat. There we go. Just give it some aging effect and a little bit of wear. There we go. Exposes the wood behind it a bit. Same thing there. Just roughs it up. There we go. That's what it's looking like there. And the next thing I need to do is attach the sign to the post. Now, I want to hang it just a little crooked. So I'm going to put my little nail through there now. I'm going to actually push this nail through. There we go, like so. And then we want to just kind of put that up there. I'm leaving the nail head out actually, so that it gives it a little bit of detail here. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to just pre-drill that just a little tiny bit, and then we're going to glue the sign on. What we're going to do is just going to pilot a little hole here with a 5/64 bit, and then we're just going to see, that should, oh yeah, that fits nicely into there, and it hangs just a little crooked, which is what we wanted. And then we're going to take some glue, and we're going to just glue this to the post here. There we go. Like so. And into the hole. There we go. Just like that. Voila. And now our sign is up. Okay, so one more thing I need to do here before I get too far along in the snow here. I need to make the tracks for Doug's little wagon. This is still setting up right now. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking a jointer and I'm making tracks in the snow. Now I know the wheels on the cart are about 4 inches, So as long as I keep right about 4 inches apart here, should be fairly close with having his wheels sit right in these tracks. So there we go. Yeah. So his little wagon will sit right in there, and he'll be in the wagon, and Bob can stand right here in this smooth area, and then we can have some Christmas trees hanging around them here. So we'll let that cure up a bit, and we'll start doing some more decorating here. What's a Christmas display without some fancy colored ribbons? So we went to the dollar store here, and we got some curling ribbon, and we're just gonna make ourselves some streamers and fancy the place up a bit. Make it look like Christmas land. So let's see here now. What can we do here? Let's start up with gold and actually let's start out with red and green here. We'll find the center here if we can. Come on, you out. I don't know, I think I got the end of it. Nope. There it is. Okay, so we'll put the red up against the green. Oh, there it is. There we go. And let's see here now. We're gonna tie some streamers here. Where are we gonna do this now? Okay, so we're gonna tie that to the top here, where our guy wire is hooked up to, and then we're just going to twist it up together so it looks like a streamer. And there we go. We'll just have to keep twisting and twisting and twisting. There we go. And what we're going to do with this here, we're going to string it across our guy wire in between the lights here, and that kind of gives it that Christmassy garland look of a Christmas tree lot. So there we go, and we'll just wrap it around along with the lights a couple of times, and then we'll tie it into the at the other end. We'll have to tie it into the hook eye there as well. Now you can see what I'm up to here. We'll just kind of twist this around here a bit. Just like so. And then what we'll do, we'll just take the end of the ribbon and we'll put it through the hole here. If I can get a hold of here. And out through the hole. There we go. And we'll get the wee one through the hole. There we go. Like so. So anyways, after securing the streamers to the fence here, what we're going to do next here, we're just going to take a hot glue gun and we're going to simply hot glue the ribbon in place here. so that doesn't come out. We're just going to glue our knot here, and we'll take a pair of scissors here, and we're going to cut these streamers off real short later, and then we're going to cover up the knots so you can't see them with some more of the Snow-Tex. And then as a final step, what we're going to do here is we're going to Mod Podge on top of everything here, and just make it look all sparkly and glittery, and then we'll be ready to put Bob and Doug in their place in the living room. So we'll just and don't forget to do up top here on the wire. So we don't want any of this coming off undone on us here. So we need to count cut these things fairly short here. So we come on. Throw some Snow-Tex on top of that too to cover that all up. And we got the typical stringy stuff here left over from the hot glue. There we go, just one big glob of glue holds everything in place. We'll just get that stringy glue out of here. So anyways, once the hot glue dries, you can cut off all of your excess little pieces here. Whoops, better not cut there. I think I'm going to have to, looks like I missed one there. I'm going to have to get the hot glue gun out again. But careful you don't cut your wire here or your electrical won't work. And same thing down at the bottom here. So I'm going to have to get the hot glue gun out and get that. I missed that one there. So we're just touching up a few things here. We'll put some snow on the tips of the tree here that covers our little power box. And don't need to overdo it. Just a few on the tip, a little bit on the tips here and there. And it looks like it's got some snow covering it. There we go. Alright, so our final step is we're just going to take some Mod Podge here, and we're going to pour it into a disposable container. And there we go. Now this stuff is white and creamy to start with, but it actually dries clear. So we're going to take a little tiny squirt of paint, and we're going to make it white. Now I've got a matte finish Mod Podge, and then now we're going to take a whole bunch of white sparkles, and we're going to mix them into the Mod Podge, and we're talking probably quite a bit of sparkles here. We want to get probably half and half sparkles and Mod Podge. And there we go. Just do this in a disposable container and you don't have to worry too much about it. So we'll just toss that like so. We'll just mix that all up. And I think we can probably use a few more sparkles. Yeah. We'll just continue adding sparkles here. My wife said to add a lot of sparkles, so. So we'll just follow her advice and we'll do a lot of sparkles. There we go. And I think we'll add some more sparkles. Nice thing about the container here is you can actually throw some sparkles over everything after you get done as well. So just sprinkle and give everything that little glistening. Okay, so what we're going to do here, just going to get a small brush, and we're just going to be dabbing this on basically everywhere, and just giving it that little bit of a finish. So just there we go. I'm just going to brighten everything up. That nice little glistening. There we go. You can see the snow start to glisten here now. We added on all the high spots and all the nooks and crannies, and just work it in there. And just give this a couple hours to dry, and then we can set up our diorama upstairs and give those two little moose guys their permanent home for Christmas here. So, anyway, so it's not much to this step here. You just be watching paint dry, so we'll see at the setup. Now, I'm a sucker for having fun and doing details with things, so I found these little tiny copper nails that they're actually used for shoe tacking. And what I'm doing with these, I'm just kind of sticking them into the fence here, just as a little tiny detail. I couldn't find my railway spikes for the model railroad, so, but I did find these little tacks, and if you just put them in just kind of at random angles, there we go. Just give them a good little squeeze like that. You can leave them halfway out or put them all the way in, whatever. Just adds that final little touch to everything, eh? There we go. And just need to squeeze them in just like that. Just wherever you can see them, and I'll do the last post. You can't see it, but yeah, I figured it was a cute little final touch for everything. So now I do realize I made one major goof when I started here. I forgot to put my feet on. I've got these nail-on rubber feet. well, felt bottom feet. But you might want to put these on if you don't want to scratch your floor or something like that. So we're just going to tack these on here real quickly here, and then we're going to go set this up. Anyway, so now that we're finally finished everything, we can put our little display together. We've got this little wagon here at well, we found it at Reuse Center here. It's actually from a little flower shop, I guess. Because on the one side it's a Bowie, but anyways, you see I made the tire tracks, so that little wagon will sit right into the tire tracks, and then Doug is going to stand in his little wagon there, and Bob is going to stand right over here, right beside the sign, and then I guess they need some trees to sell, so we'll grab some trees here, and I guess this is going to be a little bit of tight display here, but yeah, we can put this little fella right here. We can move him over. We'll put this little tree right here beside him, and this little tree. I think what we're going to do with him, I think we're going to take some twine, and we're going to bind him up like you find them at the stores before you actually buy them and take them home. We're going to lean him up against the fence here. Maybe we can move this guy back up over here and give him a little bit more room, and we can lean a couple of these up against the fence like so. So, anyways, I just got these trees at the Dollarama, or Dollar Tree, I guess, and they're like a buck and a quarter a piece up in Canada here. So, anyways, we're just gonna take some jute twine here, and we're just gonna tie it up here like so, and give that a double knot so it doesn't come undone. And we're just gonna okay, so we're just gonna wind it all the way up, just kind of in a spiral as we go here, and then we'll get to the top and we're gonna go all the way down, crossing over as we go, and we'll get all the way down to the bottom again. We'll just take that and we'll tie that into a loop, and come on, you off. There we go. And handy dandy razor blade. Just tie this off now. So, and then that can just go into the display here, and that's his Christmas trees that are ready to go out the door here. So anyways, the continuity cop here has pointed out to me that the metal on the bottom of the tree is showing, so I'm just going to take a little bit of brown paint here, and we're just going to take care of that problem. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and you have a good day, have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in the new year. So thanks so much for watching. I hope that you like this video, and feel free to share it on social media, and let all your friends know about it. And if you like this Christmas project, well, maybe you'll like some of my other Christmas project videos. Just check out the links below here in the description. There's a couple more little projects that I've done in previous years. Okay, have a good day.